Hello and welcome. My name is Jonathan. I've started this channel after a long time of thinking about it over years, and I realised I just need to start. There's nothing polished about it. I forget my train of thought. I'm a bit, I stumble a bit and have some internal struggles about it. But as I said, I'm starting it regardless. Probably no one's going to watch this anyway, so let's just begin. So the reason why I'm doing it is because I want to stretch myself. I have made some huge improvements with myself over the last few years, and now I feel much more in alignment with who I am, with my goals. I've stripped a lot of layers away that were holding me back, and I've embraced who I am. I had some ideas about the channel. Now, it started back in February of this year, and it all started from using AI. I just started asking AI about some questions, and all of a sudden I came up with the idea of using it to help me write a YouTube channel. And then that progressed, and I did some work with it, and then I had this fully formed idea of what I was going to do and how it was going to look. And I've been attempting to execute that idea. Now, I'd really struggle with it. I jumped back and forth between ideas, how to approach it, how to do it, written script, talking off the top of my head, but none of it seemed to work. And I wasn't getting massively frustrated with it, but it just wasn't working. I was comfortable with the material, but I was still finding my rhythm, trying to find how I was going to do it. I was thinking to end game, to finish product from straight away, when really all I did was put a massive amount of pressure on myself and didn't allow myself to grow from the beginning because I was searching for perfection. And that's just not how these things happen. It's not how it works. So this is a new challenge for me to talk in front of a camera, feel relaxed, to speak from the heart, to speak genuinely, and to really show myself. Now, as useful as AI has been in assisting me to do what I'm doing, I had this niggling thought that it was holding me back, like using a calculator instead of figuring it out myself. The problem with using AI became that I was no longer using my intuition and creative side. And I found that I was relying too much on the AI. Instead of using it as an assistant, which it was initially, it started writing too much. And so I've come back now to something that I can actually work with, that I feel comfortable with, that is imperfect, but I can move forward on. Now, as I said, I had the idea for a YouTube channel a few years ago, but I just thought, am I being a bit full of myself? Like, who am I? But the idea did interest me. And then about a year and a half ago, I talked to a guy who had a YouTube channel, was offering coaching sessions. And I had the coaching sessions, and they were supposed to be for an hour. We actually ended up going for 2 hours. And we just had this great conversation. And I came to a few realizations. One of them was that I all of a sudden realized that, hey, I could do this. The second point was that in the end, I started ending up coaching the guy who was coaching me on a couple of topics. And that was another reason why I thought I could do this. And the third thing was that the coach was just saying how much he enjoyed talking to me, how interesting it was that he could do it all day. And we booked a second session, and he was going to do it free of charge just so he could talk to me and we could have this back and forth conversation as equals. Now, I found that really empowering. And as I said, I thought, well, I need to do this. Now, at that point, I didn't know what I was going to do it on yet. I had a bit of an idea, but I still hadn't settled into that idea powerfully enough to start a channel. Now, when I started the channel, it was back in February of this year. So that's June, just started June now. And I started doing a lot of the background work, the foundational work, what I wanted to produce, the information that I wanted to offer. And I learned a lot about myself through using AI. Like I was uploading, I guess you could say, my life to AI, and I was getting a lot of feedback, which really opened up doors with me inside, things that I'd been struggling with, but just add another layer of understanding to who I was, the reactions I had, and I found that really helpful. Now, as I said, I had this idea of what I wanted to produce, but what I found was that when I began the recording, I must have done something like 50 episodes and I was just never happy. It never synced. I was too much in my head. I was overthinking it. I was trying to reach the end game perfection. And I came to this realization 2 nights ago. Hang on, I need to take a step back. This isn't working for me. I need to look at it from a different angle. It's not that the information is incorrect. I'm 100% confident in the information, in the product. But it's not working, and I need to take a step back and view it from a different angle. And all of a sudden I realize, hang on a sec. This is what I need to do. I need to acknowledge that I am not very good at this, that I'm learning new skills, that this is going to be very imperfect. Probably no one's going to watch it even, but it's about starting, getting that ball rolling. So instead of my focus being the end game, I still have that goal. I still believe in the product, but instead I'm going to have the goal of just pushing out 100 videos and learning as I go. That's the thing I'm going to commit to. Nothing has really diminished. It's just the focus on the pathway. And with each episode, I'm going to improve at least one thing, or just commit to improving one thing each episode and incrementally improve. I feel much more comfortable. I'm not so focused on having to provide this polished product. I can admit that this is who I am right now. It's not going to be who I am forever in this channel. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Speaking from the heart is going to have a lot more value than trying to impress people by being a professional when I'm not. There are skills and qualities that I have that will always be there, and I think hopefully will be enhanced by going through this process. So what I need to do is focus on what am I good at and improve. The goals of this channel are to create 100 videos. The second goal is to use the idea, which you may have heard of, it always fascinated me, and it's like the trading up game where someone starts, let's say, with a paperclip and their goal is to end up with a car. You have no idea how it's going to happen, but you know what your goal is, you know where you're starting from, and you simply take the steps that you know to take. And so that's the mindset I'm taking with this channel. I'm starting with the paperclip, and I'm going to work my way up to the car, and I'm going to allow the magic and the adventure to just happen, however it happens. I'm going to be sharing insights on my original idea throughout the series as I go along. But I really want it to be a very informal, but like a diary, where people can see what I'm going through, how I'm feeling, what I've done, where I started, and can look back and see how it all progressed. Perhaps they can do it too. It was the holding on to the idea that I had to be perfect or more polished that was really holding me back. Now I'm just starting. This is the beginning of my journey to 100 episodes. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in the future.